Most human beings are afraid of gluten. How do you think they'd handle goblins?
What a
what an awful line.
It's so stupid. If you're hearing our voices, it means it's time for It's This Meets That, the podcast where we watch terrible movies so you don't have to, but maybe you should. I'm Russ.
And I'm Jared.
And that piece of fine literature is, oh my God. I guess I'll just introduce the movie, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, might as well.
Might as well at this point. So last week, if you probably hopefully listened, we did a trailer trash for Artemis Fowl, our biggest budget, biggest acted, biggest movie we've done here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Milestone for us.
Watershed achievement.
Yep, handpicked by Jared himself. But if you hadn't listened to it, the movie we're going to be tearing apart over the next two episodes is Artemis Fowl. And do you want to? I'll do the whole thing. Fuck it, I'm going to do the whole intro.
Why not?
I'm on a roll right now. I'm kind of awake, so
we sound more awake than usual.
Yeah, I just kind of I don't know. I snapped into it.
Perfect.
So Artemis Fowl is about a young criminal prodigy who hunts down a secret society of fairies to find his missing father.
Mm-hmm. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
A lot of there are many terrible lines in this movie, but I think that one that I read that's up there, right?
You may have pulled it. That was a good one. That was pretty solid. So before we let's expectations from the trailer. So everyone knows. So Jared's already seen this. You've already seen the movie a while back. You've read not all of the books, but most of them.
I've read at least the first 4 or 5 probably.
Okay, so that makes I put you in fan category because there's 8 books and you've read 4 or 5 of them. I think that's
so.
You've stuck with it, so that's good.
Yeah, and I watched this when it came out, so it was June last year. So it's been 9 months or so, 10 months. Okay. I don't know. It's been almost a year, I guess, since I watched it.
Yeah. So when we did trailer trash, I had my expectations after watching the trailer, and I was like, this looks like Disney. They're trying to get a new big franchise rocking and rolling. Looks like there's plenty of money being put at this movie.
Yeah,
it looks like it'll be fun, but I don't know the source material, so I have no benchmark.
We'll get into it as it goes, but there is nothing to do with the source material other than the name Artemis Fowl and some of the characters' names. There's really nothing about this movie that is like the books, so.
which is weird, because the author was Owen Colfer. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his last name right there.
Probably not.
I'm sure there's a lot of fanboys gonna be like, "That's how you pronounce it. He's from Ireland. You're saying it wrong." I'm like, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. You don't want us to do Irish accents.
No, I'm not going to. So, but he was involved. He was one of the 3 screenwriters. So you would think that he would just be guidance for the story for just use the books, man. You got the source material. If the books are good,
one would think.
Use the fucking books, man.
Yeah, there's actually we get into a couple other things about it in the fast facts, but I'll tell you right now. So I know we're kind of skipping ahead to quick info at this point, but Kenneth Branagh's the director, right?
Yeah.
Who is generally pretty good.
Yeah, right? It's Kenneth Branagh. Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh's all right.
Yes.
Thor was probably the worst Thor movie, but
that wasn't too good. Yeah, no, but
it wasn't bad though.
He played a great Russian villain in Tenet.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm saying that with the no, not at all. But okay. Yeah.
Big Shakespeare boy.
Big time. Shakespeare in the Park. Yeah.
So his excuse for this atrocity.
Oh, so he already had an excuse.
Oh yeah. He had to come up with an excuse real quick. Because like I said, it has nothing to do with the book. So they, when they released the trailer, I guess in 2019 or whatever, fans of the book series were in an uproar already because they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought this was supposed to be an Artemis Fowl movie. And he in an interview, he said I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically like, in the books, Artemis Fowl, the younger, is kind of he's definitely an anti-hero.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't think, coming from the person who's worked on Marvel movies, and he's like, I don't think audiences would identify with that kind of a villain character being.
What?
Like, are you in the same universe that I'm in? Kenneth Branagh?
Now it makes now hearing that though, that makes me think that maybe Disney was like, no, here's our notes. Why don't you turn this character into someone who's not that?
I don't know, man. It sounded like the way that he was phrasing it sounded like he had some creative decisions here to make. Because so giving away probably a little bit of what I'll talk about all throughout this podcast is the character of Artemis Fowl and why he's so cool. So the books came out when I was 12 years old, 2001. Right, 9/11's happening. You know, terrorism's a thing. Everyone's worried about it.
Kind of always was a thing, but okay, yes.
No, now it's a thing.
Now it's a thing. Okay.
The war on terror, Russ.
Yes. Okay.
Is now a thing, and at the time, it was like so cool to have this like villain character, basically, who was my age at the time, doing like whatever he wants, like a lot of moral ambiguity. Like he's just out there trying to be a good thief. Like he's just out there trying to like steal stuff from elves. And you're like, oh, this is kind of neat.
Okay, yeah, that's fun.
And then over the course of 8 books, he like starts to develop a sense of morality and right from wrong. But like he's very much a not hero. And the way they framed him in the movie is like, oh, he's just run of the mill, like Disney child hero. Check.
So it seems like they went from, well, the author had an arc for him to go over the 8 books. Is it just 8 books or is there supposed to be more?
I think it's just 8 because the last one was 2012. So
okay, so it's just some of these writers would do that and be like, oh, I'm writing one every 10 years.
Ran out of Disney money.
Yeah, right. So he had an arc prepared for this character over 8 books. So where Disney was like, no, let's just jump, or Kenneth here, like maybe they were just like, no, let's just jump to him just being like, you got to make him good because he's a kid, and that's what we do here. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it's super irritating because it's, like I said, it's nothing like the books.
Yeah. Well, let's burn through the quick info because then I've got some comments about the screenwriters. So we obviously directed by Kenneth Branagh. So screenwriters were Hamish McCall. I'm gonna probably butcher some of these, but Hamish McCall, Connor McPherson, and Owen Colfer. Who is the author of the books. So he's listed as a screenwriter, but I'm sure he was just there for story and stuff like that. There's so many ways like this could have gone wrong where he was just like, oh, I've got new story ideas. Like just stick with the like.
Stick with the source material. People
because you already have a massive fan base for the story. Like these books, just do that. They just want to see it in a visual format. Just do that. And it's like this has happened so many times in different books being transferred to movies, and they just like, no, we're gonna come up with something new. It's like, no, you don't have to play the hits. Just I bought this ticket to see this band. Play your hits. Play your best hits.
Harry Potter me.
Yeah, right.
Stay relatively close to the material, and that's all I want.
Yes, and then after like 2 or 3 movies, then you can do whatever you want because then people will already be in. They'll be like, cool, fine.
I'll watch 8 of them. I don't care if they were good.
Right?
Yeah, I watched 8 Harry Potter movies or whatever it is, right?
Man, this is the lesson number 1. David, what's his name? David Stern out there in California to teach you marketing lessons, how to make a micro-budget movie. Yeah, stick to the source material. So yeah, that's screenwriters. That's our rant. It also feels like we looked at Hamish McCall and Connor McPherson's credits there. Not a lot going on there.
They've done nothing.
They've done nothing.
Collectively, they've done 2 Mr. Bean movies.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's only what Hamish McCall was the Mr. Bean guy.
Yep, that's it. If it definitely, Jared and I were talking about this before we started recording. It felt like Owen was like, sign this deal, and was like, but my buddy Connor and Hamish have to be involved, and Disney's like, ooh, what have they done?
My friends from the pub need something to do, so
and it shows. And then actors.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Go for it, but this cast is ridiculous.
Immediately. Yeah. Right. Oh, it's great. It's great, and all of according to IMDb anyway, it all stops at Josh Gad. Like I put all the actors that are actual characters in this movie that are core characters here. IMDb did not. Focused on Ferdia Shaw, who I don't think has done much yet. This is one of his first big role. Definitely his first big role.
Yeah.
Lara McDonnell and Josh Gad. And according to IMDb, it ends there.
That's it.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, also Colin Farrell and Dame Judi Dench.
Yeah,
not sure if you've heard of her.
Not sure if you heard of those two. Yeah, they're pretty good.
And Nonzo Anozie, who's also good and in a bunch of other stuff. A couple of Kenneth Branagh joints. He's a big Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, really?
Hookup. Yeah, he's in Cinderella. He's in.
Oh, nice.
There's another one that
I hadn't seen him. I mean, he was great. I mean, whatever. He's great in this. Like, it's weird that like those were all main characters, and like they listed 3 of them.
Yes. Okay. I don't get it. And Josh Gad isn't even like, if you're gonna stop at Josh Gad, stop at Lara McDonnell. It's like Josh Gad was only in half the movie also. Like, I don't know. Infuriating.
Either way, the cast is like super strong, and like I'd never heard of Ferdia Shaw or Lara McDonnell, but like, and they both don't have a ton of their credits, but they were great. I mean, I thought they were,
Yeah. No, I the fault of this movie being bad was not on the actors. Like everyone did, I think they acted their line really good. And I have a couple notes about it towards the beginning of the movie, but like when they're first doing the father-son sob story bits with Ferdia Shaw and Colin Farrell, like I'm tugging on my heartstrings here, like it was well acted.
Okay. Well, I don't know about okay, sure.
Just the script is trash.
Script is trash. Yes, definitely. So then production budget, box office numbers. So this is an interesting one. So production budget, I saw it's definitely over $100 million. This movie is over $100 million. I saw like 100 million. I saw 125. We'll call it 125 million because it's definitely what was probably thrown at it.
Unbelievable.
But this movie ran into it was supposed to be released early last year, and I think it got delayed, right? And then obviously pandemic hit, and then it got delayed again. And then I forgot that they went directly straight to Disney Plus with it.
Yeah.
So we will have absolutely no idea how much money it made, but Disney stock is way up, so maybe it did well.
That's a fair point. I didn't think about it that way. I was going to say, I feel like there must have been some people that canceled their Disney Plus accounts after this. It's so bad. Like if we weren't, I thought about it.
Yeah, I don't think that this movie was the reason why Disney Plus has done so well as a streaming service. No. It's probably more like, what are those movies? The Marvel stuff and
WandaVision and
Star Wars. Oh, Star Wars, right? Yeah.
yeah. All of the other things that they do well. This was not one of them.
So long story short, we have no idea how much money this movie made, but I'm sure Disney is doing just fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess let's Hollywood pitch, right?
Sure. Yeah, let's get right into it.
Lead the way.
You were a little skeptical of mine. Let me explain.
Please explain to all of us, Jared, not just me, all of us.
Right. You're right. So, sorry, listeners, for what you're about to hear. So this movie is clearly I Am Legend meets Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Now, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil is an easier sell, right? Like that's the Maleficent sequel. Not sure if you saw it.
I just want you to keep saying that word. Okay.
Maleficent?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
I know. I'm not going to even attempt it.
Yeah. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. The basic premise here, right, is there's an evil witch and who's not so evil after all. And there's like people coming after the fairy world. Humans are the problem, right? Trying to destroy the fairies. It's a whole thing. Like it's very much like the plot of this movie.
Okay.
And then I Am Legend because
I can't wait. I can't wait for this.
Because it's a movie that strayed so far from the source material that like it all of a sudden like drastically changes the movie. Like the movie I Am Legend is 1,000 times or 1,000% difference than, which doesn't really, you can't have that many percents. It's
Don't worry. I think we all understand what you're getting at.
Yes, it's very different. Like, have you read the book?
No.
Okay, I think we've talked about it on the podcast maybe before. Spoilers, if you haven't read I Am Legend, the book yet, I'm going to ruin it for you right now. Yeah. The premise of that one is Will Smith's character from the movie is actually like a crazy drunk who just drives around killing zombies all day. And at the end of it, they reveal that where they're like, the zombies are actually kind of smart and have actually just been like trying to communicate with him. And he just goes out every night murdering them.
Like what?
Yeah, the book is awesome.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's just an alcoholic who drives around all day killing zombies.
I don't like. I'm trying, and I remember that movie. Like, I don't remember any sense of that whatsoever. Like,
Yeah, it's well, and so that's like. Do you remember?
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if they actually stuck to the source material and it was just drunk Will Smith driving around, like that would be an amazing movie.
Yes, like that. Yes, and that's where I was going with the comparison here. Is that if they had just stuck to the source material, this could have been an awesome movie too.
Deep cut. You were going source material here. Okay, all right.
Okay. And I Am Legend's a good. I like that movie in general. Like Will Smith's a good actor. You can't fault him for that.
It's Will Smith. You kidding me? I watch anything he's in. Well, for the most part.
And when the movie came out, did you see the alternative ending that they included on like the DVDs and stuff?
No, I watched it once and I was like, all right, this is fine, but Will Smith is the only reason why I'm like watching this movie and why I can tolerate this movie.
Fair. It's the only reason anyone can.
And I was like,
and so at the end of the movie, at the end of I Am Legend, spoilers for I Am Legend, he blows up the bunker with himself and a bunch of zombies, and like people arrive to freedom in Vermont or New York or wherever they are, and it's like at the end. He just like commits suicide, and everyone, all the zombies that are in his bunker, die with him.
Yep.
But they shot an alternate cut where he doesn't blow everything up. And one of the zombies, like he actually starts to communicate with them a little bit. It's like literally the last 2 minutes of the movie is the alternate ending where they changed the guy whose zombie wife he's experimenting on, like kind of like looks at the window and like communicates to Will Smith that that's his wife. And like, he just wants her. And like, he's not trying to do anything bad to Will Smith. He just wants his wife so they can get out of there.
Yeah.
And like, they like just scratch where the book could have gone, where the book was.
Well, they did. I mean, in the movie, they did have smart. I mean, they were intelligent, right? Like they were doing something.
Yeah, but like emotional and like actual people still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where I was going with this. The source material was great, and the movie was less good because they strayed so far from it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I buy all that. I mean, that works.
Thank you.
I went a little bit conservative, as I think I tend to. But I went with it's Men in Black meets Spy Kids, and I'm throwing in a third one here, meets Tinkerbell, just to bring it all back to Disney. And I need something with fairies in it. So I don't know. I was trying to think of movies with fairies in it. And I was like, oh, Tinkerbell.
Explain Men in Black to me on this one.
What do you mean? Explain Men in Black? Like,
what do you mean? What do I mean?
They're wearing suits, and there's this whole other world that of creatures and dimensions and stuff that they don't want people on Earth to know about. Boom.
Oh, okay. You're right. And we both did Will Smith movies, so
I didn't even piece that one together. They got sweet suits, they got sweet sunglasses, and then they're always trying to like, make sure neither one knows about either side, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'll be honest, I've never seen Spy Kids, but I heard it's great and seems like it fits.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Whatever. But
yeah, watch it sometime.
I mean, this is basically kids being spies. So
yes, no, I saw no flaw there. And Tinkerbell, I know you just did for the.
Yeah, I tectonics like I mean, fairies are so important to this movie that I was like, well, I need some type of. And I brought it back to Disney, the House of Mouse. Can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it.
So that's how you pitch. I think that's good. I think we both did very, very nice jobs there.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, nice job, bud. I'm glad you explained the I Am Legend one because I was like, I have no idea where he's going with this one.
Yeah, source material. It's all about the books, Russ.
It is. It really is. Yeah. Okay, so we're moving on. Fast fact.
Yep.
That's a new intro. What do you think? Fast fact.
I like it. Yeah.
Let's see if it sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. Listeners, let us know. Do you want Russ to say fast facts?
Fast facts.
So I wrote a lot of these down here. You probably, I can lead with them if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I love, there's a really good interview with Nonzo Anozie, who is maybe the best actor in the movie besides Josh Gad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was kind of cardboard cutouts, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's lovable in the movie. Anyway, so apparently Kenneth Branagh's super picky about the wardrobe, which not super surprised by, knowing he's a big Shakespeare boy. And I just love this quote. So he's talking to this reporter. He's like, yeah, Kenneth Branagh really particular about it, even down to like the suit that I wear. Like he doesn't want any buttons on it. He wanted it to be creaseless. He didn't want it to have any creases. So the tie has to be done a specific way. The shirt has to be done a specific way. And so the interviewer rightly says, no buttons? And he goes, yeah, there's no buttons. It's kind of like a leotard. It's a leotard. It goes all the way around, makes it difficult to go to the toilet. Kenneth Branagh, why are you inconveniencing the actors like this?
Yeah, your attention to detail is in the wrong places.
Yes,
wink,
yes,
wink,
exactly.
hint, hint.
Yeah, like try a little harder with the story and spend less time on buttons.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about the buttons. How about you worry about the goddamn story?
Yeah, I just love that. Well, it makes it difficult to go to the toilet, but and the rest of the interview is him like talking about how excited he is that this movie could be the new big franchise. Like, it came out before the movie came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't fault him for that.
No, like, there's a whole bit. It's actually pretty funny where they're like, "Oh, have you talked to the child actors on this yet about like what could that mean if this turned out to be the next big thing?" And it's like, yeah, we've all kind of talked about it, but they're not really focused on it. The kids are so great; they're really focused on their work, and it's like, oh no, poor the kids,
poor the kids, Jesus,
yeah, they'll never work again.
Nope. It's either drug rehab or that's it.
Yeah. Ferdia here is the next Macaulay Culkin, I hope.
That's right. 20 years from now, he'll get a resurgence and come back with some indie films.
I'm here for it.
We're ready.
Yeah, he's got a charming accent, at least.
Yeah, we're ready to shit on those two. Go ahead, make them.
So then another fast fact here. Originally, Harvey
I don't know how
Weinstein
fun this is.
Yeah, it's not fun at all. Harvey Weinstein was a producer, and we all know how that ended.
Damn.
But this ties into the next couple of fast facts too. So, like I said, I think in Trailer Trash, I don't think we've said it yet in the episode here, but this movie, the book came out originally in 2001, and they sold the film rights to the movie before the book came out.
What?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Right? Like Owen Colfer, well, is it awesome? Or like, could he have gotten way more money for it in 2020 money? And then,
that's true.
2019 money or whatever.
That's true too. It could have been like, how did he pull that off? That's good for him.
I don't know. Yeah. And I don't think he's known for other things. Like, I think this was his first big
break. I don't know him at all. So
yeah, I think like this is his claim to fame. And somehow before it even came out, sold the film rights to it. And they've been like on and off working on this movie for 20 years.
Sounds about right. Development hell, as they call it.
Yeah, some say. And Owen, like it was delayed enough that Owen Colfer has jokingly stated that the movie would be finished 2 years after he died. Like he's not old.
Yeah. No, he isn't.
But like he knew it was never happening. And the other thing that I thought was pretty funny about it was so one of the early Weinstein attempts at a screenplay here, they quoted him in an interview afterwards saying, "It really wasn't an Artemis Fowl movie at all. Just using the name. It was truly horrifying. With each new director, my heart sank a little bit more." I was like, that's what they did.
And you're saying
like,
that this is?
Yeah, like this is the good version?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? So I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, but a couple more for you.
Go for it. Man. You're on a roll. Do it.
Thank you. This is like another one for Kenneth Branagh being weirdly controlling about details that don't matter at all. So,
or do they?
Well, yeah, maybe. So Dumboy Butler, right? Which is Nonzo Zoni's character here. In the book, so a little thing that's funny in the movie, they explicitly say does not like to be called the Butler, right? In the book, at least I think it's the third book is when they reveal what his name is. They call him Butler. like for the first like 3 books, they call him Butler exclusively. So maybe that was a nod to I don't know.
I gotta say, like, maybe as fun as these books are, like, not overly creative with it.
No, not at all.
But whatever.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And so they like when they're describing him in the book, they describe him as like generally like Eurasian features, just kind of blends in, generic guy, so that whatever Artemis Fowl adventures he goes on, like he can help blend in, do the crimes. And instead, they made his Nonzo's character like with this like bleach blonde hair and striking blue eyes that really don't fit with anything else. Like, why would you make him look like he stands out so much if part of the core of the character is being able to blend in?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm like Kenneth Branagh. What happened to you?
Source material, source material.
Yeah. Only a couple more here. I know.
What else you got? No, this is good.
So we commented on it a little bit in the trailer trash. I love this little anecdote about Colin Farrell's suit. So Colin Farrell looks great in this whole movie.
When does he not? You know what I mean? Come on.
Exactly. When does he? I was talking to Thais about it in the movie where it was like, oh, she's like, well, he's the hot guy in that, and like the hot guy in that, and I was like, well, I guess. Well, and she's like, well, he's the hot guy in every. It doesn't matter what he's in. He is the hot guy in the movie. Like, yeah, fair enough. Nailed it. We were trying to figure out if he had been in, if he had children in another movie.
If he had children in the movie, what?
Yeah, I don't know. We settled on that he had. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's wearing a Dolce & Gabbana suit that looks amazing, and so the costume department apparently met with him to like adjust the suit like you do when you're in a costume department, and it just fit perfectly.
Because of course it did. Like, come on.
Like Colin Farrell can wear off the rack Dolce & Gabbana suits
and make it look good.
Yeah, and make it look amazing.
He could have pulled a line from Men in Black. I make this look good.
Oh, great Will Smith, Paul.
Thank you.
So now, what the Gnomish language? I believe I don't think they explicitly refer to it as that in the movie. They usually say.
I don't remember.
I think they said Elvish actually a couple of times, which was weird because they're fairies.
Some ish. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't catch it, but.
So annoying to me is that they like the books, they're children's books, right? So obviously there's illustrations here and there. And there is like the fairy language.
No, I didn't realize are they children's books or are they young adult books?
No, they're young adult books, but like they still have pictures a little bit. Like not like it's not a picture book, but like, I'm trying to justify my reading habits here.
It's like, and how old were you when you read these picture books?
12. And so I think it's around, I'll have to go back and look at the book, but I'm like 99% confident that like a really cool detail about the book is around the outline of the page on each of the pages in the book is like Elvish script or the Gnomish script. From
the fairy. It's the fairy language though, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you went back and translated all the stuff around the page, I don't know, somebody probably has done it on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't matter. So anyway.
If you know the language, send us an email in the language. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, please. I will read it, kind of.
Yeah.
So anyway, they changed it for the movie. It's another, like, why would you do that? So they just changed all the shapes. And then apparently, after the movie came out, new prints of the book have been altered with the new...
What?
New character. Yeah.
What?
So like the copy that I have in storage up in New Hampshire somewhere, I was like, it's got the old original Gnomish script in it.
It's gonna be worth money someday, you know?
No, it's not.
No, definitely not. This movie
especially not after this.
Yeah, this movie tanked all of it. Tanked the entire franchise. Come on.
Yeah. And then the last one I'll do you here is...
That's such a weird thing. That's weird. That's really
right. Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do that? That's pretty much pissing into Cheerios of all your fan base.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, no buttons on the suit. And also
we're going to change the entire language that you read or, you know.
Yeah, you know the language that Owen Colfer has been working on for 8 books and 12 years?
Yeah.
Scrap it.
Fuck it.
Let's start over in the new one.
You know, something that's a little more accessible.
Yeah. No buttons this time. And then the last one I got for you here is during his interview with the therapist. I don't know if you noticed, but Artemis doesn't blink.
I didn't notice that, but now it kind of ties in with my notes about that moment. But yeah.
It's weird.
That is weird. All right. And that's Fast Facts. Extended
Fast Facts edition.
All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into tearing this movie apart.
Wait, right before we get into it, one more thing that I forgot to mention earlier.
Yep.
So I Googled this and sent it to you. I was like, oh, I forgot this movie was 2 hours. On Google, little Google Fast Fact goof here. Google says this movie is 1 hour and 55 minutes. It's 95 minutes.
Yeah. Google, do your math. Come on.
Yeah. Screw you, Google.
Yeah. Screw you. We want you on the podcast, but screw you.
I actually submitted feedback on Google. I was like, this is incorrect.
Yeah. You've done this wrong.
Anyway, so it's only an hour and a half, thankfully.
It's good internet citizens like yourself that keep it safe.
Right. It felt like a lot longer.
Oh, all right. So tons of spoilers from here on for everything, for all of life, for the beginning and end of the universe. So be prepared for that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we get right into Disney logo. Our entertainment overlords for the past, I don't know, ever?
Yeah, dawn of time. I don't know.
Dawn of time.
When did Snow White come out? 1937? Like
yeah, entertainment overlords forever. So
yeah, 90 years or so.
They've got it all covered. So, and they certainly own our
probably not the kind of money laundering we're used to.
No, but there's definitely something going on. We know it.
Yeah, big scale though. Big scale.
You don't just keep frozen heads around and have nothing going on under the covers.
Yeah, I know we're a little bit controversial as a podcast, but something about the way they make movies for China. That's where the money laundering's at.
That might be questionable, debatable, questionable practices over there, but whatever. We'll let more poor people talk about that. All right. So we get through that. And it opens up. We get a nice shot of Ireland and the Fowl house. The Fowl mansion,
Fowl Manor, I believe it's called.
Yeah, I changed the name of it, by the way, what I call the home many times. So the Fowl Manor, as is probably known in the books, but I don't know.
Well, and the movie.
if they want to change what it sounds, if they want to change the source material, I'm going to change what it's called. So Fowl Manor. Here we go.
Yeah, beautiful. Like the saving grace of this movie is definitely all the shots of Ireland that we get.
Man, love to go back. Got to go back to the island, you know?
Yeah, apparently they were doing a bunch of pre-shooting in Vietnam, were there Vietnam scenes in this movie that I missed?
I don't know.
Like that's what I could.
I don't know. No.
Like Nonzo Anozie was talking about it in his interview. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's a scene where young Artemis is on my back and we're driving a scooter through Ho Chi Minh City." I was like, "Wait, that wasn't it? Was that in the movie?"
No, that hit the editing cutting room floor there. That's what that was.
Yeah. That was a great vacation for Kenneth Branagh is what that was.
That's exactly what that was. We're going to Vietnam.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyway.
So then we get the beautiful shot of Ireland. We get the Fowl Manor there. And immediately just jumping into a bunch of news crews are around the home. They're talking about a bunch of high profile heists from museums and basically, Colin Farrell, who is Dad Fowl, he's been pinpointed as the culprit as being the mastermind behind all these heists and stealing all these artifacts and stuff like that.
Yep. In the in-movie universe, like the way that they talk about Artemis Fowl Sr. is the way they talk about like Richard Branson. like he's like apparently he's a famous person.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, famed antiquities dealer Artemis Fowl. You're like, I don't think that's a thing. Famed antiquities dealer Indiana Jones, sure.
He did save us from the Nazis. So. And then we get a shot of Josh Gad being arrested. We're
so grimy.
Yeah, so grimy Josh Gad. And he's just being thrown into the paddy wagon because we're in Ireland.
Oh boy.
What? That's what it was. That's what it is.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, you're right. They take him away. They take him away to this prison island.
Yeah, and then we're fast tracked to the MI6 interrogation unit, which looks like a bunch of fancy Airbnb units out in the ocean.
Oh man, if I could rent a place like that,
right?
That would be amazing.
Right? That's what I was thinking too. It was like they were just like little like houses on stilts out in the ocean. I was like, this looks cool.
Yeah, outpost islands.
Yeah, if they're all connected or something. That must exist. Our brains are too small to fathom that, but I'm sure it exists, right?
You're right. This is big brain thinking, yeah.
Yeah, we can't think that big. I'm like, I'd love to get up to Maine. I don't know. What's within 3 hours?
Yeah, what's attached to the continent?
Is Canada a part of this?
Yeah, sure.
Do I need a boat to get there?
No, not usually. Maybe in COVID times. I don't know. Can't get there from here. As they say in man.
Definitely can't. So we're in these cool interrogation units. And it's Josh Gad being interrogated by MI6, just a faceless person. I'm not sure if it matters. Maybe for movie 2, it might matter. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
I hope there's not a second one.
Yeah. God, even more fouler.
Yeah, what do you think they're going to do? Like, do you think they'll This is actually a real question. Do you think movie industry wise, they're going to see the reviews and realize we made a mistake and try to make it better? Or
nope. They'll drop it. That's it.
Because like they have no way of knowing from box office totals, right? Like they can't say, oh, well, you know, the movie was a piece of shit, but it was 120 million and we made 600 on it. So who cares?
Yeah.
Like, they can't do that for this.
Well, but I think that I'm like all the streaming, I think they've got an idea of how much they made from the movies, probably just, you know, being out there. And then when they released on Disney Plus, I assume they've got some crazy internal metric that's stupid. Makes only sense to them, but
yeah,
I think they just drop it. I mean, it's 8% on Rotten Tomatoes and like 19% like audience review. Like,
right.
Fans aren't happy. What they'll do is they're going to, because they probably still own the rights to it, they're going to wait like 5 years and then do a new one.
Oh, reboot. Oh,
yeah. They'll actually probably just do like the right version that all the fans wanted.
Oh, poor Ferdia Shaw. He'll be too old, man.
Yep.
Aww.
That's my guess.
He's good.
That's what I would do if I was Disney, but you know,
you're totally right.
Yeah. Or they'll just forget about it because it's just, whatever. So we get Josh Gad. He's talking away. He's talking about, I kept hearing it as the Oculus, so I'm going to keep talking it like it's the Oculus. Yep. Facebook's
and I'll keep
Oculus.
Correcting you and saying Aculos because that's what it was.
Okay. So the Oculus was stolen and it's so powerful. It's got so much powerful. Jared, this thing, I'm not sure if you understand this. This thing is so powerful. It's got power that is so powerful that it's unimaginable.
I know. It can barely be imagined.
I don't know what that means. So,
so this is another one from the book that's kind of fun. So the Aculos is not in the book. Made out of whole cloth, presumably by Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, really? Oh, this isn't a thing from this isn't book lore?
Nope, what? Not at all.
What?
That's what I mean. There's nothing from the book that's the thing. There is in later books. There's a thing called the C Cube, which is like they explain it as like a fairy supercomputer. Like they actually go into detail and explain what it is, as opposed to this where they just MacGuffin and say like, "Oh, you can't even imagine how powerful it is." It's like, oh no, it's just a fairy supercomputer supposedly in the book.
It's also such a cheap. That's such a cop out. It's just so powerful. It's unimaginable. Well,
give me an example.
Like, what are we talking here? Like water into wine? Are we like? What are we doing?
Talking water into wine? We're talking parallel universe. Are we talking
time travel? What do we got?
Launch Russ's nukes? Yeah. What are we talking here?
Yeah. Give us something here. Give us a benchmark. Nope. It's just unimaginable. So I can't imagine it. So fine. Great. This thing is useless then to me.
Right. And the interrogator who's like he's got a real weird approach to the questioning that I don't care for. Where he's like leading Josh Gad to tell this story.
Oh yeah. Like, yeah. and he was like, in the way it was started, like I felt like I was like in the trailer, I was like, oh, Josh Gad's an ally. And I assume he is because it's Josh Gad. He's got to be an ally. He can't be a villain.
Sure.
And he's just like giving away all the secrets here. He's just yapping away, which now makes sense at the end of the movie, but it's annoying and I hate it.
Yeah. I'm going to do this probably a lot throughout the whole podcast, but like the character of Mulch Diggums in the book is actually kind of similar to the way Josh Gad played. Like that's one thing that's like fairly close, at least character wise, except for basically like he's just kind of happens to be assisting Artemis Fowl on a bunch of events. Like most of the time in the books, he spends, he like escapes from Haven City, which we'll get to eventually. He escapes from fairy world into our world and literally sits around in an apartment watching Bond movies constantly. That's his thing. Watching Bond movies always.
Sounds like I mean, it's pretty much what I do today.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. He sounds amazing. He's awesome in the books.
Well, at least it sounds like at least somewhat close to source material for the character because he's not like, hey man, we're gonna team up and do this thing. I mean, towards the end he kind of does, but it's like up until then it's just kind of like he's doing things kind of for his own. He's a con artist, right? He's just
and I do like how they give him an appreciation for Earth things later, like for surface world thing. Like I feel like Mulch Diggums is probably the closest to the book character.
Yeah.
Out of the entire movie.
Yes. And I would say like he in the movie and I think we talked about the trailer trash. Like I'm not I like Josh Gad, but I don't like him. I don't know why.
Right, no one does. Yeah.
But I think
kind of unlikable. He's just kind of unlikable.
All right. So it's not just me then. Okay.
No. That's why when I said he's worse Jonah Hill, I mean he's like you're like, oh, he's just like a less funny Jonah Hill. Great.
But he's definitely
I don't need one.
But he's, I guess, and this is a low benchmark, but he is the best part of this movie.
Oh, by far.
Right?
Again, I think that's the screenwriter's fault.
Yeah, they fucked it up. So
they gave the only good lines to him.
Yeah. So then he's telling so it turns into him now telling so this is obviously, this is at the end of the movie. Or end of the story. And he's now telling the story of Artemis Fowl and what happens leading all the way up to him being in prison.
Yeah. Let me show you the infinite possibilities of magic, he says.
Oh my God. It's got a little brush of the opening of Big Trouble in Little China. A lot of movies, a lot of other movies we've watched too, where let's start with telling you a little bit of,
Kill Chain.
I was just going to say Kill Chain, right? Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Start at the end.
No one can just start in the middle of the story and just go. They have to be like,
well, it's pretty Kenneth Branagh.
It's a fun show. I mean, I like it, but it's like, I guess now we've seen it so many times. It's like, I don't know.
Right. And this is where it's another one of like Kenneth Branagh assuming the audience is too stupid to like play along with the movie. Like that's what I hate about. I think that they just tried to make everything neat and simple because Kenneth Branagh has no respect for his audience. Like is what I've learned.
Well, there is another factor which I wouldn't be surprised playing here. It's a Disney movie, and they wanted this to be their big new franchise. And this is a thing where these big franchise movies, they make them as dumb as possible, so it's easier for translation for other countries, so other people can actually like. There's no context, like you lose.
You're right.
That's a big thing. So I wouldn't be surprised this movie just got like stripped of all of its kind of interesting source material facts, and we're like, no, let's just make this a real simple thing that any kid from anywhere in the world could be like, I could be a hero. So.
Yeah, the whole script is exposition. Like I'd say it a bunch. They read the book basically, or read the script, I guess, because they don't read the book.
Yeah. So then we get Josh Gad, Mulch Diggums, right? He's kind of now our narrator throughout the rest of the movie. Kind of set that tone. He's telling the story of Little Fowl and Big Fowl and the story that's about to unfold in front of us. Yeah.
We get Irish music playing, which thanks subtitles.
Yeah, we get a little Irish music playing, and then the story begins I was like, holy wink, wink, nod, nod here. And it starts with Josh Gad literally saying, and the story begins in the most magical place on earth. I was like,
it's Kenneth Branagh's love letter to Ireland. Yeah.
or it was like Disney's love letter to itself. It was like, really the most magical place on earth? Disney World?
Fair.
Oh no, it's Ireland. Right.
No, I interpreted it as a Christian Haydenson love letter to Toronto style.
And then we've got Lil Fowl. He's just showing off his surfing skills, which we saw a cut of in the trailer, and he's just, doing his best point break as he can. He's just crushing it out there.
Yes. Which does not seem safe.
And then we get like a ton of still Josh Gad is, I think he's still narrating at this point. He's constantly he's basically just going a ton of exposition about how smart this kid is. Right?
Yep, exactly. And just like every other kid, he hates school. Surprise, surprise.
I'm not a genius and I hated school. So
sure. Right? I actually like school. I'm pro school, I guess. Damn it.
That's weird.
Yeah, nerd.
Yeah,
I was good at it. That's why. The only reason I liked it is I was good at it.
Yeah, I was terrible at it. So that makes sense. Or maybe no. Okay. So then we cut to Lil Fowl with his therapist. Go ahead.
And I love, right before they introduce the therapist, professing his smartness, I guess, is Josh Gad saying he even cloned a goat and named him Bruce. What?
Okay.
Why would you include that?
Did he not do that in the books? He didn't clone a goat?
No, of course not. No. There's nothing to do with anything. Stupid.
So then we get our first kind of one-on-one with Lil Fowl here, and this is like introducing him. He's talking to his therapist, which is like, what a great way for exposition just to unfold, and you talk about all the behind-the-scenes stuff, right?
Yep.
It's a scene with your therapist.
Yep, exactly. And they don't do it. They don't do that.
No, they don't.
They set it up. You're like, oh, great. They can tell us what the movie's about. And then they don't bother.
No. And it's also just mostly all I got of it was like, man, this kid's a dick. I don't like him. Yeah. Immediately. This is the first time I've met your main character, and I think he's a total dick, and I don't want to watch this movie anymore, and I don't like him.
Well, the therapist asks him who he respects as an equal. He talks about how his biggest problem is like, well, I don't think that you respect anyone. You know, who are the people that you actually respect? He's like, well, Albert Einstein, his theories were usually correct.
Usually, like, dick. Okay.
And this is when I remembered watching this a second time. I had completely forgotten how bad the script was.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then we get like a little understanding. I think is this the only time we get any comments about his mother?
Yes. Yeah. When he's like, oh yeah, your mother was a nice woman too. Sorry about her loss.
Yeah, but they don't straight out say that she died, right? But like,
they pretty explicitly say that she died. They definitely killed her off in this movie. And that's another interesting thing too. Totally different from the book.
I was going to say, cause my thought was like, oh, maybe the mom is involved as like, you know.
Yeah, that would be awesome if the mom was the villain or something cool.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, maybe the mom is a villain. Maybe she's like a fairy that, you know, human and fairy, like Colin Farrell's character saw her and like, you're not supposed to see the fairies and they had a kid. And like, that's why he's so smart and awesome. Best of both worlds.
No, Colin Farrell fucking a fairy is way more interesting than what they did here.
You saying that is amazing.
Yeah, way more interesting than what they did here.
You saying that line was way more interesting than Colin Farrell fucking a fairy.
Yeah.
The alliteration is through the roof on that one.
It's perfect.
I love it.
But they in the books, his mother's alive. His mother's a central character. This gonna blow your mind here on the plot. Spoilers for ourselves here. When I said in Trailer Trash that they kind of merged books 1 and 2 with this movie.
Yeah.
His dad is the one who's not a character in the books. His dad is only in the third book or the second book. And that's like,
what?
His dad's absent. That's the whole point. His dad's like gone on a trip to wherever.
Aren't they all?
Yeah. His mom's the one who raises him, and she like loses her mind. She goes crazy, and that's a huge plot point of like later on in book like 5 or 6, he like has the fairies try and restore his mother's sanity. Like the mom's an interesting character.
Wow, that is okay.
And the dad is only in the second book. Like he's literally absent the entire series. Nothing to do with anything.
And this came out in 2020, but the books were written in 2001. It was in development hell forever. They didn't know what to do with it probably because they're like, this is weird. What do we do with this? Right. And then I think everyone's been fired up over like the last 3, 4, 5 years about like the father-son, father-daughter storylines, right? And every movie that's out there, you know, Logan, like all these movies that hit it big with that. And then they're like, boom, we got it. Bring the father in. Colin Farrell. Yeah.
I'm thinking this is like a 2003.
It's like you can read those notes from Disney directly. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Pieced it together.
I'm thinking like they're working on this in 2003. Disney ESPN connection probably hired, Rush Limbaugh as an advisor. And he was like, we can't Murphy Brown this and have a single mom be the main character here.
Yeah, right. Right. Oh my God. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. You're right. And they kept that part.
Yeah.
Well, let's make this about the man. The man's important.
He had HW there as the producer, so he probably had some stupid fucking ideas too.
Yeah, terrible. So the mom is supposed to be interesting.
Okay.
And instead they kill her immediately. Shame about your mother.
Solves that problem. Clean our hands of this one.
Yeah, nailed it.
So pretty much all I got out of this scene was that he's a dick and broken families make shitty kids. That's what I got out of this whole thing. So
seems like it. Yeah.
That's all
Shout out to broken family listeners out there. Send us an email. We know you're not shitty.
We've talked about it before, but yeah, that's pretty much what they were hinting at with this. Like his dad's never around. His mom is dead.
Yeah. We're pro broken family on this podcast.
Man, absolutely.
Yeah, any family is an okay family. Yeah.
Yes. Wish you the best. All right. So then we move on to Little Fowl and Big Fowl.
Uh-huh.
Kind of a little montage of because Little Fowl was talking about how much he spent his time with his dad, and they're walking around the mansion, the manor there.
I teared up a little bit in this part.
Colin Farrell doing his great job of looking interested in his son. It's fantastic. Yeah. Telling all these great things, talking about fairies and goblins and all that stuff. Hey,
Yeah. Oh wait, this is one thing I meant to look up. Is how tall is Colin Farrell? Is he really short, or is Ferdia Shaw really tall?
Colin Farrell's probably like 5'9", 5'10".
Really? Because the kid looks real tall.
I mean,
he's
I don't
5'10".
know.
You're right. He's 5'10".
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Wow. I'm in a club, 5'10". We're all in it. It's a Facebook group we're all in called 5'10".
Yeah. Like Hair Club for Men.
Yeah. It's called Not Tall Enough. It's called Just Average.
Yeah. It's called Regular.
Regular. Not tall enough.
Yeah. So slightly above average.
Slightly above. So there's a montage of father-son activities. They're getting along. Stuff is cool. And then they're sitting on the couch. They're talking. Colin Farrell's basically like, hey, I got to go on a business trip. You got to leave you here alone in this manor.
Real Cat's Cradle vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get like the heart punch of a line from the kid. All I really want to believe is to believe in you. Mm-hmm. Or all I really want is to believe in you. Mm-hmm. From the kid to his dad.
Tear my heartstrings. Right.
Just get the baseball gloves, go outside, and have a catch, would you already?
Right.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Nope. And I also
he's in a helicopter.
Smell you later.
Smell you later, kid. Don't worry about it.
Well, and I love how the dad is explicitly telling him this whole montage. The dad's explicitly telling him fairies are real. Peace between the humans and the fairies was won at this very house. And and Artemis Jr. is just like, haha, good one.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, no, I'm telling you. And the kid's like, not. I thought this kid was a genius. Like I've heard this. I'm listening to your dad. Your dad's telling you everything right now.
He's giving you the whole plot.
Like, what do you think? He's lying to you? Like, you're a genius. You see through the fake, the lies. Like,
yeah, so sad. And he's like begging to go with his dad. Take me with you, Dad. I can help on whatever adventures we're doing. He's like, no, son.
Nope, not this.
And in the helicopter without you, and getting in the driveway helicopter without you.
Yeah, right. I'm out of here. And then he gives him this Irish goodbye speech, which is just like an old Irish thing.
Yeah, well, shout out to Matt. My friend Matt has that tattooed on his arm. May the road rise to meet you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a really cool Irish blessing.
Definitely. Irish blessing. That's what I was looking for. Yes.
Yeah, and they pissed me off because they acted like nobody knew what it was in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, no one knows who wrote it. You're like, well, no one knows who wrote it because it's just an old Irish blessing.
Yeah.
It is the Irish blessing. God damn it.
So that's that. So Dad's off traversing the planet. Artie's left at home, little foul, and then we get to the next day.
Yeah, I think so. And so far the movie's pretty good. Like little Artie's out there looking after him with binoculars. Like I'm invested in the father-son story that I assume will play out as Colin Farrell will inevitably be a main character in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. You killed Mom. You killed Mom. I mean, can you?
The next time we see Colin Farrell, it's like an hour from now.
Yeah. And it's like him just being like, help me, or don't help me, son. It's too dangerous.
Yeah. Villain, explain the plot a little for me.
Yeah. By the way, that's our Colin Farrell imitation. We did a good Amy Adams one, I think, a while back. We've done a couple more since then, but this one is, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, villain, tell me the story again. What's your plans?
It's like a Ray Romano. Kermit the Frog.
It's like Ray Romano meets Kermit the Frog meets Fat Albert. Kind of.
Right. He's perfect.
All right. So next day, this is kind of like the call to action moment here, if we're going to get all, movie analysis. But so we meet a new character, Dom Butler.
Right.
Short.
Which, don't call him the butler.
Don't call him the butler. But Dom Butler doesn't like being called the butler. That seems completely reasonable.
Well, yeah, the first 3 books exclusively known as not even the Butler. His name is just his last name. His last name is what he's known as.
Yeah.
And actually, it's kind of cool. They don't go into it like that's the other thing is there's so much interesting lore in the books that they could have done anything with, and they skipped all of the good parts and just accentuated the shitty parts. Like, I mean, the mother's a good one. Dom is another good one. So in the books, Artemis Fowl comes from a long line of criminals, right? And he's like, carrying on the criminal tradition. That's his thing. He's a bad character who slowly learns morality over time. Yeah. And the butlers go back generations working alongside the Fowl family as like bodyguards. They're all bodyguards. So
like, Dom's why didn't they explain that in the
I know, yes.
Like, you've seen it twice. I saw it once. I don't know if they ever touched on that, but it doesn't feel like they did.
Nope, not at all. Like, you can they allude to it in part. Like, you can see as they're walking through the manor, there's like portraits of the Fowl clan and also the butlers alongside them. Yeah. Like, Dom's dad was Artemis Senior's bodyguard, and Dom is the younger's bodyguard, right?
Yep.
And like, they're just like a long line of bodyguard relationships, I guess. And they like study it's like they have a whole backstory onto themselves. Like, they make Dom Butler a cool character in the book where they like explain how he studied martial arts in like Vietnam or wherever, and he's like learning kendo and like all this other stuff. And, like, their sworn duty is to protect the fowls, and it's like it's a whole story. It could be way more interesting.
And they fucked it up.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we meet Dom.
The butler, and then we get Little Fowl. He's walking around, whatever, hanging out, and there's a news break on the TV that Big Fowl has been involved in some of the biggest robberies in the last 10 years, I think it was, or whatever.
Yep. Authorities on a worldwide manhunt, how do you conduct a worldwide manhunt? First of all, what kind of statement is that?
Again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're just searching everywhere on the planet.
Yes.
No biggie.
Yeah. You know, news.
And also, I don't know if you caught this, but when they're showing it on the news, the boat that he was on that he disappeared from, the yacht or whatever.
Yes.
That's a key part of the books too. And another thing that, like, a little thing that they changed for no reason, that the name of the boat is the Owl Star, and in the books it's the Fowl Star. Like, why would you change that?
What is
I don't know. It's infuriating.
Is that supposed to be like a nod to like the fans of the book, but like also like a weird not nod? I don't know. That's. Couldn't tell you what Kenneth Branagh's thinking. Anyways, so revelation, his dad is now on a worldwide manhunt because those things happen. He drops his milk in slow-mo. I was kind of waiting for the Kobayashi thing on the bottom of the bottle to pop up. And then
he's not a criminal. He's my dad.
My dad. And he's freaking out. And then Dom's holding him back. I'm like, from what? It's his house. It's his TV. Let him punch it. I don't know.
TV.
What's he holding him back from? And he locks him.
But also, like, this scene was great. Again, like, this kid is a decent actor. Like, the he's not a criminal, he's my dad part was so believable. He was really acting well in that scene.
It wasn't terrible.
Oh, come on. Give him one more credit than that.
No.
Sorry, Ferdia Shaw. I tried.
You will not get it here. Ferdia, if that's your real name. And then
we're probably pronouncing it wrong.
Definitely. Yeah. And then we get a phone call.
Right.
Because
Artemis Jr., I presume.
Hello. Artemis Jr.
Yeah. Mr. Bond.
Hello, Mr. Bond. No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die. The villain calls because I don't know. I guess Artemis Fowl must be listed in a phone book.
Yeah. Well, remember the peace between fairies and humans was brokered at the Fowl Manor, so clearly they know the fowls,
right?
Which I have gripes with because they pretend they don't later, but that's a separate thing.
Whole separate issue.
Yeah.
So the villain calls and basically sets the whole story in motion even more, right?
Right. The core is find the Oculus or you'll never see your father again.
The what?
And
Oculus, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, the Oculus. And then doesn't explain to him what that is. Which I'm like, this is so stupid. Why wouldn't you tell him what the device is? She's like, you're a clever boy. Figure it out.
All right.
Okay.
So cool. Plot's kind of set in motion. Criminal's like, go get it, go do it. And then Dom shows him the secret cellar.
Yeah, right? Come with me. I'll show you everything.
This
is another one.
Go for it.
Where like the book is pretty short. Like we're not trying to adapt to Harry Potter here. And I think that they did a really good job adapting Harry Potter, right? Like universally loved generally.
Yeah, I think those movies did pretty fucking great.
I'm no expert, but I've heard the Harry Potter movies made a buck or two.
And I'm going to throw out there, I haven't even seen all of them, but I know people love them. So
pretty sure Emma Watson almost retired this year. She's my age. She's like 32.
Yeah. They nailed it.
Yeah, they did all right. And instead they're just like, they rush this movie so much. Everything in this is so fast. Like they skipped over all of the interesting details and then everything else they just mushed together. So yeah, you're right. This is when Dom's like, oh, and here's the basement.
Here's a secret basement.
Yeah, secret dungeon, but your dad has all kinds of weird artifacts and stuff.
And it was basically the cellar of exposition, because as soon as they walked down there, I was just like, wow, he's just telling him everything. I mean, I guess, or us, he's telling all of us everything.
Right, exactly. And he's like, they're talking about locating his father's journal. Like, of course, he has a private journal because, like, the only thing, Dom makes a big point about how your father told me everything. Well, except his private journal.
Obviously.
And it is. And then,
go ahead. No,
you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, maybe we were saying the same thing, but is this where he comes down the secret dungeon for the first time, but it's like he knows everything that's down there? Yes. Is this where he finds like the journal and the Irish blessing book, and then like it's just like, oh, here's a lamp that's right here. It's all right, and it's like, wait.
Like, wait a second, where do I find the secret journal? Let me open this drawer. That's the third one down.
So I was like, did I miss something here? Or is this just moving really quickly that he just knows where like everything's going on?
Nope. You missed nothing.
It's as if Dom didn't even know where the light was. And he was just like, oh, there's a light there?
He didn't. He like explicitly said like, well, I don't know anything about your father's secrets.
And the little fowl is just like, boop, no, it's all right here. It's like, oh, okay. I guess we got to get this plot moving a little bit quicker.
Yeah, stupid. And he's talking about how the foul men for generations have been protecting the world, which like this isn't from the book at all. The core premise of the movie has nothing to do with the book.
Yeah.
Like the foul men, I don't even know if I'm trying to remember back. I don't even think the foul men going back generations know about the fairy world. Like,
oh, really?
I think that's a young Artemis thing. Even like they're definitely not trying to save the world. They're just trying to steal shit from fairies. Like he's in the first book, he's painted as enemy number one for the fairies, which in the book they're called the people. They just call them the people, but he's painted as enemy number one, like hates the fairies. They don't get along with each other.
Yeah.
He's stealing their technology constantly.
I love it. That sounds awesome. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. It's great. That's why the books are awesome. And this movie sucks.
And then so things are moving pretty quick and he's discovering all this stuff, but he discovers where his father's diary is based on the Irish blessing that he was telling him. And I was like, wait, what?
What?
Like, little fowl, I know you're a genius, but the rest of us aren't here. How did you just knew?
He's like, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. I bet it's the third drawer on the second. That must be what my father was saying.
And the light is 2 clicks above. Like, what? I was like, this is...
Well, that was... And like, they do a ton of exposition there where Dom is saying, well, he told me everything. I never heard of this Aculos. It's possible that... is it possible that he gave you a clue of where to start? It's like they're reading the script to us. He's like, well, he never told me how to start, but he may have told me how to end.
Have mentioned something.
It's like, may the rose ride to meet you. May the road, R is the 17th letter of the alphabet.
And then the Dewey system, Dewey Decimal System works. It's like, that's pretty much what he gave him. He just, like, the poem was a complicated Dewey Decimal System in a secret cell that no one fucking knows about. So just, why go through that?
And also, so Dom, first of all, Dom is not Irish. Dom's doing a British accent, which is his own accent. He's a British guy. He in that interview that I was reading earlier, they asked him about that. They're like, "Oh, is it weird being the British guy when all the other people were Irish?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't want to be a caricature and do an Irish accent."
That's okay.
Fair enough. But nonetheless, he's asking him like, "Oh, who wrote this poem, Artie?" Like, Dom, like you're from the Isles.
Yeah.
more or less. Like, how do you haven't heard this May the Road Rise Meet You thing?
Yeah, you're like one over.
I mean, exactly. Don't care for it. So, and this is when we get more narration from Josh Gad, which I hate.
I'm like mixed on this too, because it's like, do we need this?
No, it's the lazy way of making a movie. We know that.
Right. We definitely know that, right? It's like, it's okay to start it, I think, with that. And I think that's fine. Like we said, it's a super, whatever. It's a thing that everyone does with starting like, I'm going to tell you a little story. And okay, that's fine. Everyone's been doing it. It's fine. But then you can stop the narration and just let the story happen and let the actions that happen within the world, like explain to the audience what's fucking happening.
Exactly.
Not have him just chime in and just be like, just in case you didn't know, this character is fucking awesome. This character is what he does. It's like,
yeah. The only movies that I like narration are like Fight Club, where there's like he's having a mental break and that's why there's a narrator at all. Like it makes sense in that context. In this context, not so much. And they're like going down to Haven City now, right? Where they're explaining to you about how the fairies have lived in this underworld community for centuries or who knows how long.
Yep.
Talking about the Aculos and how that supposedly does something important. I don't know. Like none of it made sense.
No,
and I'm already kind of confused. I've seen this movie twice now and I'm still confused of like, what were you going for on the plot here?
Yeah. Like what are we doing here? What are we actually doing?
We just like pan around Fairy World a bunch, which is called Haven City, apparently. Unclear if there are other cities in Fairy World.
Is that what it was called in the books?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing from the book that they took, besides the name Artemis Fowl.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, is the name Haven
tell
City.
Me at least that was in the book.
Yeah, I know Haven City is as a thing. Holly Short is a character who we'll get to in a second.
Yep. Well, I think that's where we're at right now, right? So we get the whole, we understand what Haven City is, and Josh Gad's kind of narrating like what this world is and how it's existed, and that it's been underneath Earth, for thousands of eons of centuries of whatever.
And the one line that I do like from Josh Gad narration was like this is my favorite part, mainly because I'm in it.
Yeah.
I was like, aw.
All right. So then we meet Officer Short, Holly Short, who is a fairy. She works for the fairy godmother clan. I don't know what is it. What are they? Are they like a police?
So actually, right, like I feel like you skipped a little bit here. Before we meet Holly Short, we get to we're in prison. Like we're in the prison line with Josh Gad.
Right. Yeah. I guess okay, that's true. I guess
where he's talking about how he's a giant dwarf and not a regular dwarf. And,
yeah, I think my lines are mixed up there, but yeah.
And this is when they get him on tunneling and entering is his crime.
All right, a little T&E.
Sure. Yeah, and they give him 400 years in prison for T&E. That's so much. That's so many years.
Well, how long does a giant dwarf live for?
No one really knows.
Yeah, I mean the fairies live for at least hundreds of years, so 400 is right.
Presumably, but like that could be half a dwarf's life. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, he does a bunch of that stuff. He talks about how art is art and great art is never really understood. And this is when he's talking to Holly. He meets Holly for the first time, and he's just like, he doesn't meet Holly for the first time. He knows her. He's like, think about my children. And Holly just says,
which there was no single. Well, so I assume in the books, like that was built up, like, or was that just like they were just buddies and you just knew it? Like,
yeah, I don't
think it's fine in a movie. Like, oh, okay, they know each other. That's fine. So she's part of the fairy law and he's he's a con artist, but outlaw.
Yeah.
It's
fine. In the book, it's not quite like that, but it's not egregious.
But this was also the same part where I was like, oh man, Josh Gad might be the best part of this movie.
Oh, for sure.
And I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's not great.
Damn it.
Not what you want.
What happens then? And we understand what the fairy world is. We understand Josh Gad's kind of character a bit more, what he is, giant dwarf, thief, con artist. We meet Holly Short, Officer Holly Short, major character in the story.
We cut to fairy prison,
and then we cut to yes. Well, before that though, do we have the villain planning moment, or did I?
That is the villain planning moment. So that's when we get Cudgeon shows up, who's a terrible character.
Is that a character in the books as well? I mean, I don't know. Or...
He is a character in the books, but kind of different.
So the villain basically just shows up to a prison set up with this character, and it's just like, hey, who is an officer an
officer, right?
This was really confusing. This was really confusing for me because it was like, so this character is in like this prison cell, and the villain comes in and was just like, all right, hey, I've got a job for you. You're gonna go infiltrate the ferry police department, basically, whatever, let's call it that. And I want you to infiltrate and do what I tell you to do.
Right.
I was like, who is this person? Who is this? Who is, like, how are they important? Like, how are they gonna just, hey guys, I'm back. Like, it looks like he's been here for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At least a bit. And he was court-martialed from his post. Like, that was his thing. He was
court-martialed. Okay.
And so they were like, oh, the villain's like, I already took care of it. You're being reinstated. It's like, wait, why? Like, why is any of this happening?
Yeah. Like, would anyone who like saw him be like, weren't you court-martialed?
Yeah. And I love he's like, who are you? My fairy godmother? And I was like, I get it, but come on. You guys don't like human culture down here.
All right, so then we're off to Fairy Command. We're at the fairies gathering.
And poor Dame Judi Dench. They make her sound like Josh Gad. So every line she's delivering, she's like, I got something in my throat that's like real weird and uncomfortable for all of us. But and then every now and then she'd break into like, oh, come over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant come over here.
There's definitely a moment where like Josh Gad definitely cannot keep with the voice, and like later in the movie he just loses it. I'm like, I think he's just being Josh Gad now. I think because he's making 80s references, he's getting really excited, and he's just talking like Josh Gad would.
Yeah, they both do it.
So basically, Judi Dench is playing M from James Bond, but in Fairyland, pretty much.
I think that was intentional, as far as I know.
Oh yeah, it seemed. I mean, yeah.
Homage to M.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because she's just like the lead there, and that's how it's going. She also had like when she first comes up, she starts speaking. It's like she kind of sounds like the villain.
Oh yeah.
I was like, maybe it's subtle, trying to throw us off. I was like, no, there's no way, because the villain does not look like Judi Dench. So
the movie's not that smart.
No. And then there's a bunch of her, blah 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 blah. We gotta get the Oculus Rift before.
Yeah. And this is when
anyone else does.
I wish there was like a little counter in the bottom left of the screen every time they said because they say Aculos 1,000 times.
A gajillion fucking times.
Like more than Al Pacino says fucking Scarface. Like way more.
It's so true. It's so true.
They just beat you over the head with it, trying to remind you that, like, oh, in case you read the books, remember, it's not part of the books. Remember?
Yeah. Usually MacGuffins are just kind of like mentioned, and it's like, okay, we know this is this thing, whatever. And then that's it.
Yeah. Dumb. And then she talks about how, like, if you disobey and I'll have you imprisoned. And she's like switching in and out of the gravelly voice that I don't care for.
It's not the best moments. And then we get I think we also get like a little bit of backstory for Officer Holly Short here.
Yeah, we
catches up with Judi Dench, Commander Root, and it's just like, go ahead.
In the book is a man. Not that it matters really, but like, just like one more change for Kenneth Branagh to make here.
One more change.
Like, why not? And they kind of blend. There's two characters in the book. There's Commander Root, and then I can't remember the name of the other character. The other character is like the military leader or police leader that like is an ally to them. And Commander Root is not. Commander Root is like pretty explicitly not an ally for most of the series. And it's this other, and so they blend the two into this Judi Dench character.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, she doesn't seem like an ally at all, but then kind of starts turning a bit.
Right. And
I think right towards the end, it's like,
right. They blended her with another character for the movie.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we get a little backstory for Officer Short, she and actually insight for major plot point, but she wants to find her father, Beechwood Short.
Yep.
She's
only 84 years old.
She's only 84. Young looking 84.
Yeah. She's 12 going on 84.
Yep. Yeah, you know. That's it. So we get a little insight that she wants to go find she wants to go find her father. She basically wants to clear her father's name because I don't think we learned that just yet, but that her father was part of. We don't think we learned that yet from the movie, right. Do we?
Absconds with the Aculus, and that's
how
we got in this mess in the first place.
Yeah. Right? So everyone looks at her as being kind of like, should we trust her? She's the daughter of
her dad's a traitor, right?
All right, so we go back to the fowl coop. More narration, and then we meet Dom's niece, Juliet Butler,
right? Who in the books is his younger sister.
That's okay.
So a bit of a shift, but
yeah, I don't know why. Why was that?
That's what I mean. Like the changes that Kenneth Branagh, I'm assuming Kenneth Branagh again, the changes that
let's just say they, but
stupid.
I mean, he's the director. So, but yes, right. The blame should be put on him. But at the same time, to make a movie, a lot of people are involved. Yeah. It's Disney.
That's
so,
true.
But
like, why change the stupid things like that? Like, why change that?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes no sense.
Could have just I think it's because their ages were too different. Like the actor Nonzi, maybe is like Nonzo's a little bit too old to be older, bro. I don't know.
It's you can movie magic this situation to make it make sense. So we meet Juliet Butler. She's just as badass. She's pretty cool.
Yep.
She's also the same age as Artemis.
Right.
A little foul. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be. I think the two of them are gonna team up, and this will be pretty fucking cool. Yeah. This is gonna be a fun adventure for like two kids who are like friends and like. Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Cool. Go kick ass.
Spoilers, it's not.
It's definitely not.
You'll appreciate this. So in the books, she's the younger sister. She ends up becoming a pro wrestler in America. Bet you didn't see that coming.
All right, maybe
that's what the books are so good. Like they're so weird.
that is definitely weird. All right. So the niece, Juliet Butler, I'm like already all in this guy. I'm like, this is a fun character. This is great. What a great introduction to this character. And then you have like Dom, who's like kind of like a mentor, and maybe he'll pass away, and then all of a sudden, it's Julia and Artemis and the father, and they're gone. The elders are gone. And they gotta like fend for themselves. This is not at all what happens.
No,
which seems way more interesting.
Yes.
And we get Little Fowl basically doing research on fairies, which is basically him doing a Google image search, and he's just looking at pictures. But
yeah. And he was also talking about how like, he's assuming the fairies are going to be helpful. You're like, wait a second. Didn't your dad teach you anything? Fairies are tricksy bastards. Like you're
right.
Like the premise of the books holds here where like the fairies are not here to be on your side. I don't know.
No, not at all.
But like at this point, we're half an hour into the movie, and I feel like we're cruising. Like it's moving, right? It slows down way, way more.
It definitely does. No, I mean, like the pacing it's fine. Like there's some awkward moments, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not like, wow, this is really that terrible. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I think as like someone who hasn't read the book, so I have no clue what's going on. I have no clue. Like, I mean, I obviously I know what's going on, but it's like, I don't know. Some characters, I'm like, this just all seems a little weird.
Yeah, well, think about it this way. That's what you say as a person who hasn't read the books, and that's exactly what Kenneth Branagh was trying to say. And like, it still didn't matter. He was like, well, for someone who's not familiar with the books, isn't that a little unbelievable? Like, let's make it. And you're like, no, you didn't fix it.
Yeah,
you made it even worse and uninteresting.
Right. I mean, if the books are that interesting, the source material is that interesting, like, and if you just use that as the blueprint and stay as close as you can to that, someone like me who has never read the books will see this movie and be like, I want to read these books because I'm sure there's so much more lore and so much more like backstory and like
totally
all sorts of characters who probably aren't in the movie that had to cut or merge into like, now I'd be interested in reading the books. I have
it's like a less smart Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's like, how I position. Like there is like a lot of cool lore in the books that makes sense, and it's like really interesting.
Right.
I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So then we shift from there. We get. I assume you're done with all that, right? We're good there.
Yeah,
And
good enough, yeah.
Now we move on to back to like the ferry to Haven City, pretty much, right? And we meet a centaur, Foley.
Yeah, which
Axel Foley.
Like knowing knowing what I know from reading the books, like I'm not surprised that like this is a magical world where there's all kinds of different creatures and whatever else. They don't in the movie. It seems like they're pretty explicitly calling this a fairy world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems like as far as like the hegemony goes here is like its fairies are on top of this universe.
Yeah, that's the sense I got. But also, I mean, it's called Haven City, so I was like, well, it's a haven for everyone. So
for
I mean,
misfits
they had little creatures like earlier on. So it's like, okay, it's called Haven City. The fairies are definitely top of the food chain, but like it's locked down but open to everyone else.
Fair, yeah. But like, where does the centaur fit in? I don't know. I want an inventory of all of the magical creatures that are available in this universe, right?
Yeah, because centaurs are pretty weird creatures.
Yeah.
I never met one, but I mean, so we meet Foley. He's a centaur.
Yeah, which Foley did you pick? So it's a funnier joke with the subtitles on. It's not funny if you don't have the subtitles on. They spelled it Foaly. I misspelled it in my notes, but like foal. Like a baby horse.
That's
right. That's his name.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's stupid. And like I said, you wouldn't know that unless you read the subtitles.
Read the subtitles. That's pretty great.
Anyway,
so Foley. We meet Foley. He's kind of the technical. He's like the support ops. He's tech ops for Judi Dench's character, pretty much, right?
Yeah, he's like the Q. If Judi Dench is M, he's the Q, right?
Wow. I wonder if this is all just lifted from James Bond and just a fantasy world of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny in the book, Foley is also the Q, but Foley's like a fun, super conspiracy theory kind of character where he in the books, he always is wearing a tinfoil hat. Actually, like an actual tinfoil hat. And then is like his whole mission. The only reason why he's hired by the, fairy command or whatever is that his job is to like keep the technology ahead of the humans. Like just like keep inventing shit until you can't invent shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like you, right?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, keep us ahead.
So we're in this moment where all of the other officers have been sent to go find the Oculus, right? The Oculus Rift.
Yep.
And Officer Short is the only one that's left around.
Yeah,
she's been kind of hanging out with Judi Dench's character here, and we meet Foley. We get the centaur here, and he's like, "Hey, we got a level 5, clinger, ogre, or troll on getting close to the surface." Which was there an explanation as to why this might happen, or was this something that was?
We got a bogey. We got an unknown runner on the surface, is what they say.
The runner on the surface, which just means something from the below world has escaped to the surface. In this case, it's a giant troll. And Officer Short's the only one that's left around to go deal with the situation. So she gets her first, I don't know if it's her first, but she gets a mission to go and check it out. Right.
Well, and that's one thing I have a gripe about too, is that she's 84 and it seems like she's like a pretty well-established officer of the fairy law here. And Dame Judi Dench is like acting like she hasn't had a chance to prove herself yet. Like it's unclear if she's ever been to the surface or.
Well, I think it comes back to her father, right? Everyone keeps saying that, like, who's going to trust her? Yeah, that's why they wouldn't let her go into the main mission to go look for the Oculus and all this sort of stuff. Like they're just,
Good point. So we got a bogey on the surface. Got to send Holly. She's the only one.
And then we get a scene of Foley, the centaur, walking Holly into this tube machine thing.
Yeah, I love him like bouncing around and going like, "Moo!"
There was one moment where he did the like coming into a room. I was like, all right, that was pretty funny.
So funny, yeah.
It was like that was the best part. That was actually pretty funny.
I hope it was improv.
I hope so too. But then he's like walking into like this machine that I guess sends them to the surface, and it's just like a fucking spaceship that you shoot through a hole in the ground.
Volcano. Yeah, it's a volcano tube.
It's a volcano tube. But I was also like, he's explaining so much about this. I actually wrote down, I was like, oh man, I wonder if this is going to be important to the plot later. Nope. It's like, why would you explain so much about this thing and being like,
you're sitting on 25 tons of lava and it's moving at 600 miles per hour and
it is not important at all later.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like you're setting it up to be like, trying to think of what a good, complimentary example is. Oh, the, what's that show with 5 in the title that had House in it on HBO? You know what I'm talking about?
Just the 5 of us?
No. With Hugh Laurie, it doesn't matter.
House?
Yeah, House. That's what I'm saying. But it's not House. It was the show where he was on a space station.
Or Edward Scissorhands?
Doing space. All right. You're the worst. Regardless, they're like, make it a whole thing to be like, they explain the consequences of doing things like traveling, and then it's a consequence. Yeah, somebody tries to do it and they get obliterated, and it's wild.
Right. Don't explain something in the repercussions of it if none of that's going to play out later.
Yeah. If you're going to keep it a PG movie, don't bother.
Yeah. Don't bother. Yeah. So she basically she just gets sent up to the surface, right? Yeah, and I think we do get a little more back and forth, I think, between Foley and Dench here about Short's father, Beechwood Short, right?
Cudgeon. It's Cudgeon that shows up at this point, and this is where
right. Cudgeon is the guy. So Cudgeon, just remember, so Cudgeon was the one who was in the prison from the villain and was like, hey, you're basically, he's the infiltrator, he's the spy. So
yeah, exactly. That's right. They have a ton of exposition now where they're like, I think I wrote down a bunch of like the whole quote here because it's stupid that they again just explain the movie to you. Like Beechwood, Beechwood Short, the traitor, he uses magic to steal the Aculos, which, need I remind you, is the most important artifact in our civilization. He literally says that in the movie. For fuck's sake, like, you've already told us this 100 times so far, and I know you're going to tell us 100 times again, but like, we're not toddlers. I remember from 5 minutes ago when the Aculos was what everyone was going after.
It's like, are they writing this movie actually for kids, or are they?
It's so frustrating. And then he also explains what he's doing. Like, he kind of tells that he's working for the villain. This is when they close out this scene, right? And he goes, oh, the executors are watching, which apparently is the leaders of the Fairy Society. He goes, I'm their eyes and ears. I see everything. Like, why would you tell her that you're working for the enemy at this point? He's like, I'm on to you.
Right. And that was weird. Cause like, are the executors, are they just like an upper level, or they must be just an upper level of fairies? I don't know. There was no explanation of that. So I was like,
presumably it's like, surface governments where we have police department, and Dame Judi Dench is the head of the police department.
She's the captain, and we got, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, but it's dumb. And then he just goes, oh, carry on.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? Okay. All right, guess we got it. So then Officer Short there, she's just blasted out of a volcano, which we don't know where we are, I think. Do we know where we are physically on the planet Earth?
And I was asking the same thing. I'm like, there aren't volcanoes in Ireland as far as I know.
No, not that I know of either.
Like, is this outside of Paris? Like, is this in France? Is there a volcano in France? I don't think so.
I mean, there's probably volcanoes everywhere. We just don't see them, though, as clearly as day.
Yeah, I guess. But like,
some areas.
why are they like blasting her out of a volcano? Like, nothing makes sense anymore.
No, just make your own little portals. Like, just
They go into pretty good detail in the books about how all of the transport systems and stuff work. Like, all of that is Foley's invention. Like, they make, like, they didn't explain that in the movie, but Foley is the cue of everything. All of the cool technology that the fairies have is Foley is responsible for.
I mean, I guess maybe that was like they're trying to lean to that when he was explaining when she was getting into the pod and was like, okay, you kind of get that, but like, I don't know, like
be explicit. I don't know.
They could have done that better, I guess. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Anyway, so then we this is when we cut to Dom real quick, right? Who's staking out the fairy tree.
Right. Yeah. There's a fairy tree out by close to Artemis, the Fowl Mansion, I guess, a Fowl Manor. Or something. And they're keeping an eye on it because, like, I don't know why they're keeping an eye. Like, does Artemis have a plan at this point? Do we know about this?
Artemis's plan at this point is that he needs to engage the fairies somehow so they can help him get his father back.
Right.
And he doesn't know what's going on. Like, it just so happens that he ends up kidnapping a fairy, but like, it could have been. I don't know what they were really going for here, other than they'll show up eventually.
Yeah, this actually, would have been good. It's This Meets That. This would have been like a good. It's Men in Black meets Usual Suspects, because he is pretty much like a mastermind of the entire plot. The entire plot and story is already. It's already. This is gonna be weird to say, but like in the world, it's already outlined. It's already happened. It's already completed. Like he's figured it all out, and we're just kind of like falling around like a bunch of dumb schmucks, and they're letting us know when we should need to know something. I don't know.
I agree. That would have been a good This Meets That if they had done it more like the book. Where they like where there is like a I don't know. Like I guess I don't know. At the end of this, they like kind of make it seem that way. Like at the very end at the very end of the movie, spoilers for later, right? But like,
I mean, he is a criminal mastermind, so I guess we're supposed to know that, right? We're supposed to get that from the first few bits, but it's like, I don't know. It doesn't come through though. I just feel like, and it was so rushed. He's
a nice kid. It seems like he's a nice kid.
No, I think he's a dick, and I don't care about him. Remember?
Well, or he's a dick kid. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's just a kid, and I don't care,
Just loves his dad,
Just wants to play catch.
Real daddy's boy.
All right. So... so then we get, I don't know. So we get that. And then Officer Short is zipping around the planet, like, trying to catch the runner, the big troll.
Yep. Following the fairy GPS, which I don't know if you noticed, but it's like pointing out things like Irish cliff, Italian coastline. like the fairy GPS is so stupid. Makes me so mad.
That's Foley's fault. He's the one who's like, right?
Yeah. Blame Foley.
So I think they're in Italy.
Yes, they're approaching Martina Franca, which I don't know, that was listed as a geographic goof on the IMDb page. That Martina Franca is a real place.
Yeah.
This place looks nothing like that.
Like nothing like it.
It's on the opposite side of Italy, and it's like it's a whole thing. But anyway,
so then we get a giant troll just pops up in this wedding and just like is causing all sorts of problems.
Mm-hmm. This is where I questioned the $125 million budget, where I was like, the troll effects aren't that good.
No, I was like, this movie came out last year. Like, come on.
Yeah, you can do better.
I just watched one of the Avenger movies that came out like 6 years ago.
And it holds up.
It still looks better. Yeah, but of course, that was a planned $1 billion, franchise. Whereas,
right.
But still,
well, this could have been.
Yeah, is not.
So then,
go ahead.
We need to do a time freeze, which,
or as I like to call the old, I'm blanking his name. Whatever, freeze frame.
The old Zach Morris.
Thank you, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I got you. I'm also from the 80s, more or less.
The old Zach Morris freeze frame.
Mm-hmm.
That's their backup. So the Centaur hits the freeze frame. What's that?
Yeah, so convenient,
right? Yeah. So Officer Short there, she's kind of battling the troll. It's not going all that well, I think. And then he drops the freeze frame button. It's like, oh, that's super super convenient, and it just freezes. Yeah. Within a bubble, and is obviously important for later.
Right. And now the thing that I don't care for here, because again, they do this later, like you just said, like it seems like there's so much fairy bureaucracy in place. Like there's a lot of red tape on time freeze. Like Dame Judi Dench is like, I'll take the fall for this, guys. If we got to freeze time, we got to freeze time.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Yeah. Like, whoa, what's the hold up here? It seems like this is a great idea.
Like, there's been no explanation of what the cons are of like freezing time.
Right. Is there a better way to do this? I don't think so.
Just freeze time and just do that. Like, what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
So time is frozen, and this is when they get to scoop up the old troll there and get him out of there, I guess.
Which, like, the troll was really, really fucking shit up. Like, this wedding, like, how has no one died? I don't know.
No idea. Like, yeah, he was just destroying everything.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, mind wipe the humans, like very Harry Potter convenient thing of like, oh, we solved the problem, guys. We froze time, and now everyone just gets their mind wiped.
Very Men in Black.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly the same. Nailed it. So they freeze time. They lock up the troll, and then Officer Short basically just goes around and fixes and cleans that kind of everything up. Well, it's a ton of other officers too.
Oh, was it? I thought it was just her, like kind of speeding around, like.
No, they deployed like a battalion to.
I thought because like they could freeze time. They freeze time for everyone else, but for them, it kind of sped things up so they can go and like.
No, there were a bunch of other fairies too. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense at the very end there. Okay. All right. So then they're pulling back, and then I think we end the scene where she goes rogue to go clear her father's name, right?
Right. This is when Dame Judi Dench says, "Good work, Captain Short. Get yourself home immediately." And Short says, "Yes, Commander," agreeing. And then Dame Judi Dench going, "That's an order." Like, wait, why?
But
she hasn't said anything about disobeying yet. And then like they unfreeze everything, and it's like, oh, what a weird wedding. The Italians are confused.
I mean,
and Holly Short just goes to clear her father's name.
I'm out of here, and she just takes off.
Yeah. To which Judi Dench says, "I'm going to have her badge for this." Oh, okay, good. There might be consequences.
And Foley actually had some of the best lines, and he in the background was like, "That seems like a bit much." I was like, all right, this character actually might be the best character in the entire.
Right. Like, don't worry, Foley. Dame Judi Dench is all talk.
So then that's our first kind of like big battle sequence there with the troll, kind of setting us up because the troll will be coming back.
Oh, of course.
Spoilers. And then we kind of end up back at Lil Fowl, right? He's reading his daddy's journals there, a little more exposition about weird way
what
to
could
put
possibly
it,
happen.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's doing.
Yes. Your mother was a lovely lady. Oh, no, skip a couple chapters.
Yeah, skip to the Oculus.
Yeah. Where's that part?
Yeah. So like apparently whoever has the Oculus has crazy powerful fairy spells at their beck and call, I guess.
As we know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It's unimaginable. So yeah.
Right. Sorry, I forgot. Unimaginable powers. I mean, one could teleport armies, wipe out life as we know it.
Oh, yeah. Snap of a finger, huh?
Yeah. And this is when we get the introduction to our villain. This is like the one time that they say her name. You're like, oh, I think it's old Artemis, Colin Farrell exposition saying, well, they belong to the most brilliant fairy of all, Opal Cowboy. Okay.
Yeah, which sounds like a great band name.
Ooh, that could be like a stoner doom metal kind of.
That's a great band name, Opal Cowboy. Right? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we should start that up.
We could definitely start that up. But so, is that a real character in a book?
Yes, Opal Cowboy is a character in the book, but not at all. Like, I mean, she's not in the movie enough to really be interesting.
No, which is terrible because like there's like the villain is not interesting at all, other than just being like a mysterious thing in a green light. And it's like, well, this character sucks.
In the book, she's like what's the antagonist there in Iron Man, the original one, the other developer, the other inventor that does all the
his father's you mean in the first Iron Man?
Yeah, the other old guy. Who's the other old guy?
Jeff Bridges' character?
Was that Jeff Bridges? Yeah,
I guess so. Bald head. beard.
Yeah, was he bald? His name was like Army Hammer, but it wasn't Army.
Oh
Hammer.
No! You're thinking that's the second one. Hammer Technologies. Yeah. That's Sam Rockwell. Iron Man 2. It's Sam Rockwell who was playing Justin Hammer.
She's exactly like that in the movie, in the books, where she's always trying to out-invent the rest of the fairies and like create some kind of technology in order to take over the surface again. Like she's an interesting character in the books, not here. And she like at one point she like travels back in time and kills her past self. Like there's a whole
awesome.
I know
that's awesome because that makes no sense.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff
that makes no fucking time travel logical sense, but I love it.
Right. Yeah. Nope, they don't do that here.
Man, they were really playing, like, hoping for like to play the long game with this movie. Like, they were really hoping maybe potentially, I don't know, but
yeah, what a waste.
Total waste. Like, there really was no villain other than the infiltrator, the kid. That was the only one that we had to worry about, and everyone thinking that they were building up Judi Dench and like the fairies as being like the villains, but it's like, sure, but I don't know.
Yeah, which in the books they are. They're not the villains, but they're like Artemis Fowl is the villain. Like the kid is the villain and the fairies are just trying to live their lives. And he's like, I'm going to go steal fairy shit.
Cause he's a jerk. He's a jerk.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, this felt good.
Yeah. I think so.
Do you feel like you've gotten it all out? You feel better about?
I think most of it. People really have to listen to part one on this one because I don't think we're going to go into all that book logic in the next one.
No, we're definitely not. So, I think we're going to end part one here. We're just about, I think, just under a halfway mark for the movie. So, but yeah, I think it's a good spot to stop. So, thanks for listening. We will be back on Thursday, but in the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram and it's This Meets That, or ITMT Pod on Twitter.
Yeah. Or if you're feeling old fashioned, you can send us an email at itsthismeetsthat@gmail.com. Or as always, you can find all of our episodes at itsthismeetsthat.com.